think back on myself 10 years ago, I remember thinking my life was over. I was only 8 years old when the police raided my home as I sobbed and whimpered on my front porch. They then piled me and my siblings in the back seats of police cars, and they were built like cages. I had no idea what was happening. I just knew that they were taking me away from my home, they were taking me away from my mom, and that I was yearning to go back. When I went into the foster care system, I didn't understand how the state could claim ownership of my perfectly fine life. I only began to understand when I was much older and long out of the system. It was apparent after a judge had reviewed our case that if it weren't for my principal and her husband, who was the officer leading this theft, I'd still have a normal life with my mom. I came from a blatantly racist school in Kansas where me and my seven siblings were some of the only Black students. This school was ultimately the reason for the successful wreckage of my life, with my mother and the loss of many family connections. I was ripped from my sisters and then my brothers, and then I was told to be thankful to be placed with some of my sisters again. Over a year and a half, I went through multiple foster homes, some friendly, but most mentally, verbally, and physically abusive. This system, which was supposed to foster care and which was supposed to help me, actually fostered hate and was one of the most troubling times of my life. As my time in the system dragged on, I thought I had no control over my life. I felt like I had lost control of my story. This system thankfully brought me closer to my father, which was something unexpected. After being placed with him in New Orleans when I was nearly 10, I was afforded many more opportunities. I restarted in a place where I was more accepted and valued. I began to be more accepted and valued, and I began to think that in school, education would take me much further. I began taking pride in my education, and I began working as hard as possible to ensure that I had the opportunities for my future to take back control of my life. This is when I realized that education would take me far, and although they could take me and call me worthless, education would be the key to my success. As I worked harder in school, I realized that I not only liked learning, but I liked teaching others what I learned. This led me to begin working hard in my community in different organizations, where I became heavily involved in outreach and advocacy work, learning for myself and teaching others. For example, I've been a part of this community garden since I came to New Orleans that enabled me to teach others about food systems and food sovereignty. And I've been on my robotics team where I teach younger students about engineering. However, in order to do this work, I've had to learn a lot along the way about how exactly to engage with my community and make them thrive. When I found the Friends Forever program at age 17, I was at a point in my life where I was recovering from multiple life-changing events and milestones. I searched for the program that would allow me to really come into my own after these changes. A program that was not only targeted at high school students for the sole purpose of allowing them to put it on a college application, or just another extracurricular activity. I was searching for something that would truly stay with me forever. When I found the Friends Forever program, I was almost shocked that it existed. Shocked that something focused on youth was about improvement and exploration and vulnerability instead of just telling them what they should be doing and what they should be saying. When I found the Friends Forever program, I knew that I had to apply. Today, I am proud to be in FFI to learn how to better myself and my community. Because of how invested I am in my community work, I'm so used to being the teacher. But at FFI, I realized I didn't have to do it all, and that there is so much that I can learn. Every session, I learn a new method of communicating, a new method of understanding different perspectives, a new way of bringing out my creative side. From FFI, I've also been able to bring what I've learned to my different communities. Now, reflection sessions and debriefs are a regular part of my diversity, equity, and inclusion work group meetings at my school. And after each robotics outreach event, students implement the team decision-making process within their prototyping process. Now, not only am I better able to communicate with people that I'm trying to help and teach, but they are better able to communicate with each other. The people at FFI are also so welcoming and warm. And as a hugger, it was very frustrating that I could not reach the screen and give everyone a squeeze. But now, as I'm able to give these wonderful people hugs throughout this week, I feel I have found a new family, and I hope that they will not be taken away from me. This group has helped me grow in ways that I didn't think I would. I've learned to be less serious and more free, like when I did an entire improv session about toes. And I've learned to step back to help others step up and come into their own, like when we have different leaders of the day. I've learned to be more open and vulnerable, like when we talked about our history and story of self. These are the moments at FFI that make me really feel the forever part. I hope to become an alumni, which at the end of this week I will be. Very exciting. I hope to become an alumni so that I can be a part of this program forever and watch more students like me go through it and internalize its wonderful impact. Now, as I make one of the largest transitions in my life to college and adulthood, I take these practices and values that I've learned at FFI and I hope to spread them to others beyond these sessions so that everyone can live the values of Friends Forever in their everyday lives.